What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
The answer is out there, Neo.
What is the Matrix? Welcome to the real world.
So you're here to save the world.
The Matrix arrived at the end of the 1990s like a cinematic shockwave, appearing at a moment when audiences were already uneasy about the accelerating presence of computers, the internet, and digital identity. Yet few films had managed to articulate those anxieties in a way that felt both thrilling and philosophically substantial. At its core, the story follows a computer hacker who senses that something is fundamentally wrong with the world he inhabits, a vague discomfort that grows into a life-altering revelation when he encounters a group of rebels who claim that reality itself is a controlled illusion. This premise, deceptively simple on the surface, becomes the foundation for a dense exploration of perception, control, freedom, and the human desire to wake up from comfortable lies, all while delivering action sequences that redefined what mainstream science fiction cinema could look like. The film opens by establishing a mood of mystery and surveillance, suggesting a world where unseen forces are always watching. This atmosphere is essential because it mirrors the protagonist's own sense of being observed and manipulated, even before he understands why. The hacker's double life, one part ordinary office worker, one part underground digital explorer, captures the tension of living between systems, a theme that resonates throughout the narrative. His search for answers is not driven by heroism at first, but by curiosity and dissatisfaction, a feeling that the surface explanation of reality does not align with his lived experience. This internal conflict makes his eventual awakening feel earned rather than arbitrary. When the rebels enter the story, they do not present themselves as traditional saviors or guides. They are fragmented, cautious, and burdened by their own losses, reflecting a long and exhausting war against an enemy that controls nearly everything. Their leader, a calm and authoritative figure, speaks in measured certainty about the nature of reality, but even he admits that belief is not enough. Understanding must come from direct experience. This insistence on experiential truth becomes one of the film's most powerful ideas, reinforcing the notion that no amount of explanation can replace personal realization. The now iconic choice offered to the protagonist symbolizes this perfectly, turning a philosophical dilemma into a visual and narrative turning point. The revelation that the world is an artificial construct designed to pacify humanity while their bodies are exploited is delivered with clarity but also with restraint. Rather than overwhelming the audience with exposition, the film allows the implications to unfold gradually. The simulated cityscapes, familiar yet subtly wrong, gain new meaning once their artificial nature is revealed. Everyday objects, routines, and social structures transform from neutral background elements into tools of control. This shift encourages viewers to reconsider their own assumptions about normality, comfort, and the systems they trust without question. One of the most striking aspects of the film is how it visualizes abstract concepts. The idea that physical laws within the simulation are merely lines of code becomes the justification for extraordinary feats, yet these moments never feel weightless. Each gravity-defying leap or impossible dodge is framed as the result of belief, discipline, and mental liberation rather than innate superhuman ability. This framing reinforces the film's message that limitations are often internalized constructs, taught and reinforced by the systems that benefit from obedience. The action, therefore, is not just spectacle, but metaphor made kinetic. The antagonistic force controlling the simulated world is portrayed not as a single villain, but as a system embodied by relentless enforcers who can appear anywhere at any time. Their ability to inhabit any person within the simulation turns the environment itself into a threat, creating a pervasive sense of paranoia. This choice reflects a deeper anxiety about conformity and surveillance, suggesting that control is most effective when it is invisible and normalized. The enforcers are calm, efficient, and emotionless, contrasting sharply with the rebels' flawed humanity, and this contrast underscores what is at stake in the conflict. As the protagonist begins his training, the film explores the tension between knowledge and belief. He is told repeatedly that he must let go of preconceived notions about physics, identity, and self-worth, yet doing so proves far more difficult than simply understanding the theory. His failures are as important as his successes, grounding the story in vulnerability and doubt. These moments prevent the narrative from becoming a straightforward power fantasy, instead emphasizing growth through struggle and self-confrontation. The idea that awakening is painful, disorienting, and incomplete adds emotional weight to the journey. The rebels' hidden refuge in the real world provides a stark contrast to the simulated environment. It is cold, industrial, and stripped of comfort, yet it represents authenticity and freedom. This contrast raises uncomfortable questions about whether truth is always preferable to illusion, especially when reality is harsh and unforgiving. The film does not offer easy answers, allowing characters to voice different perspectives on whether humanity was better off before waking up. This moral ambiguity deepens the narrative, acknowledging that liberation comes with sacrifice and responsibility. One of the film's most memorable subplots involves a character who openly rejects the burden of truth, longing instead for the comfort of ignorance. His betrayal is not framed as simple greed or malice, but as a desperate attempt to escape the pain of reality. Through him, the story confronts the seductive power of illusion and the human tendency to prioritize comfort over authenticity. This subplot reinforces the idea that systems of control persist not only because of external force, but because many people willingly participate in them. Visually, the film establishes a distinctive aesthetic that reflects its themes. The simulated world is often bathed in a cold, green-tinged palette, evoking the glow of computer code, while the real world is harsher and more metallic. These visual language subtly reinforce the artificiality of the simulation without constant exposition. Camera techniques and editing styles emphasize precision, control, and repetition within the matrix, contrasting with the more chaotic and grounded feel of scenes outside it. These choices contribute to an immersive experience that communicates meaning through form as much as through dialogue. The soundtrack and sound design play a crucial role in shaping the film's identity. The blend of electronic and industrial elements complement the digital themes while amplifying the intensity of action sequences. Silence is used strategically to heighten moments of realization or tension, allowing the weight of certain scenes to settle before the next surge of movement. This balance between sound and silence mirrors the film's broader tension between overwhelming systems and individual moments of clarity. As the story progresses, the protagonist's role within the rebellion becomes increasingly significant, though the film resists framing him as a traditional chosen hero from the outset. Prophecies and expectations exist, but they are treated with skepticism, emphasizing choice over destiny. The question of whether he is truly special or simply someone who believes he can be becomes central, reinforcing the film's emphasis on agency. This ambiguity allows the character's eventual transformation to feel like a culmination of internal growth rather than the fulfillment of an external label. The climactic moments of the film are structured not just as a battle against enemies, but as a confrontation with fear, doubt, and the perceived finality of loss. When the protagonist faces apparent defeat, the narrative pauses to explore the idea that death within the system is not merely a physical endpoint, but a psychological one. Overcoming this fear becomes the final barrier to true liberation, suggesting that control persists most powerfully through the belief of inevitability. The breakthrough that follows is framed as a shift in perception, a moment where the code underlying reality becomes visible and malleable. In its closing movement, the film shifts tone from desperate survival to cautious optimism. The protagonist's newfound clarity does not erase the conflict, but it changes the nature of the struggle. Rather than hiding and reacting, he speaks directly to the system, declaring an intention to expose its limitations and inspire others to wake up. This ending avoids neat resolution, instead positioning the story as the beginning of a larger challenge. The sense of open possibility reinforces the film's core message that awakening is not an endpoint, but an ongoing process. Beyond its narrative, the film's impact on popular culture and cinema is inseparable from its identity. Its visual techniques, particularly the innovative use of slow motion combined with dynamic camera movement, became instantly recognizable and widely imitated. These techniques were not merely stylistic flourishes, but extensions of the story's themes, allowing viewers to perceive time and space as flexible constructs. The widespread adoption of these techniques speaks to how effectively the film integrated form and meaning. The philosophical underpinnings of the story draw from a wide range of ideas, including questions about simulated reality, free will, and the nature of consciousness. While the